Be what you can see. Feeling proud of where you live, your community, family, and having hope for the future can make all the difference. Whether still at school, heading off for your first job, or just surviving day to day, where you get support and inspiration from can make all the difference. In this series of podcasts, we get to hear stories of pride, hope, and aspiration. People that have made a difference. Stories of bravery, dreams coming true, and what a sense of community looks like. All right, Matt Bond, thank you so much for coming in.
No,
Mate,
thanks for having me.
First, I'll get you to tell us about you. So, where you're from, where you're living, and how long have you been here?
So I'm originally from Canberra. I moved up here in 2003, so I've been living in Manoora for 20 years now. I've grown up in the music industry pretty much my whole life. Even in school, I knew music was what I was going to be doing. So every time I try and step away from music to look at something else, I always get pulled back into music.
And I understand you've worked with some pretty big names as well.
I have. I've been blessed to work with people like Britney Spears, the Backstreet Boys, the Bee Gees, Savage Garden, Human Nature here in Australia. So,
wow, that's a pretty impressive kind of list. But we're here to discuss a project that I know is close to your heart, and in some ways, you tell us about this project and that we're here to discuss, and tell us where it is on the hierarchy of importance to you.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, we had a bit of an incident here in Cairns, and I was invited to join a team of other musicians and producers to work with the community in Murray Street in Manoora to teach the kids how to write songs, record them, and we ended up putting out a CD. And being a community project and pretty much a therapy project, it tops my list. Even with all the celebrities I've worked with and that, it's the most memorable project I've worked on.
Wow, that's kind of, I must say, that's considering the people that you've worked with, that's nothing small to say. So how did you get involved with this entire thing? And I suppose to give some contextual information to people, we're obviously talking about the Murray Street tragedy, so I suppose we could just refer to it that way. So how did you become involved?
So just in my nature, I'm always one to reach out and give whenever I can. And after hearing the news of the tragedy, I knew that the police on scene would be dealing with a lot that day. So at the time, I was doing some work for a local fruit and veg shop. So I went into the shop and we filled up some boxes with some cut up fruit and got some slabs of bottled water and took it out to the police to keep them going for the day. And then from there, I was invited to just volunteer at the community centre across the road from the house, and it all just snowballed from there.
Well, I can say, being an ex-copper myself, that the boys and girls would have loved that, despite the fact that it is healthy food and not donuts. So why do you have that empathy with the police?
When I was touring and doing the sound and lights and production, it was always mandatory to have a trained first aider, advanced first aider on scene. Mm-hmm. So one day when I was going to a project with another organisation, on the way there I came across an accident where a pedestrian was hit by a drunk driver. And me being medically trained, I was first person to stop on scene that could help. And unfortunately, when a car hits a pedestrian going that fast, it's not pretty. So I had a good idea of what the police would have been going through after experiencing that myself. I knew anything any kind gesture would, no matter how small it would be a big deal for them. So, because it would be probably the toughest day of their life, having to show up to a job like that. So
totally, yeah, traumatic for all involved, and it's somewhat of a testament to you actually that out of this trauma comes healing, and my understanding is that this project brought a degree of healing to you. Now, can you walk us through what this project meant to you and how it impacted on you?
Yeah, well, walking through is a very interesting term to use when it comes down to it. I have a condition called complex regional pain syndrome. It's the most painful condition known to man, and music has always been my therapy through it. Whenever at night time, when I can't sleep because I'm in too much pain, music is my go-to. Because I can't work anymore, running music therapy groups and community groups through places like Song Connections, which is was an Arts Nexus project, through Woodshopper and Red Cross. I found that running the therapy groups was therapy for me as well. So yeah, music is my go-to medicine.
Look, I'll just make a quick observation and I'll get you to comment on it. I actually believe what I'm about to say quite deeply. I think that music is one of the most important forms of art in so much as it patterns reality. Now, when human beings engage in the making or celebrating of music, so in dance or something like that, they really are in tune with the harmony of the spheres. This is how the Greeks used to articulate it, or just the higher patterns of reality. So can you tell us how you felt when you were facilitating children becoming involved in something like that?
It didn't really feel like I was working with children, so to speak. Even though they are children, and that they were very professional, and it felt like I was working with colleagues that I had worked with in the industry. We had fun doing it and that, but they also took it really seriously, and the outcome of what they came up with was incredible.
So I suppose going backwards a bit, to give some contextual understanding for those listening, you helped produce a CD.
Yes, so what happened is over 7 or 8 weeks, we went in I think it was Wednesdays, we went in there one day a week, and we literally write and record a song each week. And on the CD, they're actually in the order that we wrote and recorded them. So it's literally week 1 through to week 7.
What's the title of the CD?
So it's Songs of Murray Street.
And all right, hardest question, because I know you had your heart in all of these. You're under pressure now.
Okay.
Right? The thumb screws are on.
Can I call a friend?
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you have some. I mean, that would put me in somewhat of a dilemma, actually, if I was put in a position like that. But, yeah, if you could tell us which one's your favourite one.
I'd have to say Wonderful Day. The guitar riff that they came up with, because the kids did that. So, yeah, it's really catchy. Gets stuck in your head, and even to this day, I can still play it without having to look it up.
So what I'm hearing is this was a community project at the truest sense. So you're involved and you're facilitating the children to actually be part of the creative process. So it's not just singing, although that's obviously an important part of it.
They did all of it. I took all my gear in, my instruments and stuff, so guitars. We had a electric drum kit, some percussion instruments and that. The kids were free to play whatever they wanted, and so they all were part of writing the music. They brainstormed the ideas for the songs. Then they wrote the lyrics for it. The three of us that were running it, we only had to step in when ideas were when they got a bit of a writer's block. But yeah, no, a good 90% of it is.
So it was and this came out of a tragedy. I mean, let's articulate that clearly. But can you tell us about the environment, how the kids responded to this, how you responded to this? What was the ambience when all this was happening?
Yeah, going into it, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be pretty tough because obviously when you're in a tight knit community like we are here in Manoora, especially, they were very close to each other. So I expected it to be really tough and that, but no. For the first couple of weeks, they kind of had their guard up, and weren't sure what they were allowed to talk about, and they didn't know whether they could feel comfortable and that being happy and writing happy songs and that. But that very quickly passed, and you really see that when you play through the CD. It's
so strange that really out of this great darkness came real light. I mean, do you think that that's an accurate thing to say, or is that somewhat, is that hyperbole?
When it comes to music, that's always the case. When there's a drought, we always put on a fundraising concert. When there's a bushfire, we always put on a fundraising concert. One of the biggest, most well-known songs to date is "We Are the World," which came from tragedy. Music has always been the go-to when tragedy and bad things happen.
How and why is it? What is it about the human condition that it actually really does heal things? Like, again, it's not hyperbole. There is something, it's non-physical. You're not taking an aspirin. You're not doing something like that. Like, how is it that this?
Well, there's a reason they call music the universal language. Everyone speaks it, no matter what country you go to in the world. They may not speak English fluently, but you can guarantee they'll be singing the songs fluently, and when you're singing it releases all the endorphins and all that kind of thing, and you can't help but feel better from it. I mean, even when you're having a really bad day, there's a reason why artists like Taylor Swift, when she has a breakup, she writes a song about it, because it then releases it and you feel better. And you know that anyone who's listening to it, they're going to, even if they don't, even if they haven't experienced that exact situation, they can take the song and relate it to something they have gone through.
Empathy with the human condition, I suppose. No, I'm going to resist all the Taylor Swift joke. I'm a great big Taylor Swift fan. But could you tell us who you were, who else was involved in this project that you worked with?
Yeah, so the main ones that was there every week was myself, Roz, and Will, and then we also had Nigel from Pegasus Studios come in and help us with the mixing, mastering, and producing. Yeah, and then we also had some of the leaders from that community come in as well, just so that the kids had people there that they knew and were comfortable with. They thought they were coming in to work and supervise, but they ended up joining in and being a part of the project as much as the kids. From the community, we had Onakura and Nick come in. Onakura was a huge help when it came to organising the kids for singing and recording their parts. And Nick, he was pretty much by my side playing guitar on the recordings. So yeah, it was great having the whole community get involved.
I have to declare an interest. I'm friends with Nick, although he'll probably deny that publicly. And of course, every human being has the capacity to conceive of and participate in abstract concepts. But having made that qualification, more often than not, we are what we see. We be what you see. And to me, that's been a bit of a theme of what's going on here. And whether or not you recognise it, and you probably don't see yourself as an inspirational figure. Most people don't, but you inspired people at that time, and you really did. You made a difference. So can you walk us through how that made you feel? And then in turn, if you could walk through the inspirational relationship between you and the other participants.
Well, yeah, I hear that a lot. People hear about what I've been through, my condition and all that kind of thing, and they're like, oh, you're incredible. And I as you said, I don't see it. I'm just making the best out of the situation I've got, and always feel, no matter how bad things feel for me, someone's always got it worse. And of course, that was my feeling going into it as well. It was, I suffer from this, but it's nothing compared to what these kids are going through. But that very quickly passed because just being in their environment with them, once we got in there, the guitars came out of the cases and we just started jamming while we were waiting to get started. It all just got left at the door.
Was there a reciprocal relationship of inspiration between you and the other participants?
Absolutely. I think I got more from the kids than they would have got from me. They taught, as I said, I'm 42. I've been in music my whole life, and they taught me more in those 7 weeks about songwriting than I've learnt in my whole career. So
that's a big statement, considering who you've worked with and what you've done.
Yeah. When you're working in the industry and that it's your job, you get in, you get out, and that. Whereas with this project, I literally felt. I didn't feel like I was in there for a job. I didn't feel like I was an outsider coming in to run it. I was a part of the family. I was there to be involved and enjoy it as much as they were.
Can we have a quick tangential conversation about suffering? And I know this might sound abstract and maybe even obtuse, but of course, in the Western world nowadays, like, we've got this idea that suffering is in and of itself a bad thing and something to be avoided. It's kind of Buddhist in some ways, like, the avoidance of suffering. But I'm not convinced personally, and I'm just going to make this comment and get you to agree, disagree, or otherwise. I'm not seeking validation. I think suffering has meaning and point. And I'd like you to discuss that, considering the suffering that you've gone through and that you saw.
I've always felt the same. Rich people don't stay rich by giving away their money and being generous. And that the most giving people are the ones that don't have that much to give. And that when it comes to, for example, religion, people don't go to church if everything's perfect and rosy. You go there because you're looking for something to fill that void. With my suffering, I wouldn't give away my condition for anything. It lets me be the person I am today. I wouldn't be doing community groups like this if it wasn't for my condition. I would still be just doing an everyday paid job. So
you think of how counterinstinctual that is. So someone that has gone through suffering, rather than saying, "Oh, I wish I could chop that bit out of my life," that it's become an integral part of who they are and their very identity. You think of how strange and counterinstinctive that is.
Yeah. Well, Kelly Clarkson said it best: "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger."
Somehow it comes back to music.
Always comes back to music. It's all about community. The thing I love most about where I live, I'm in a complex of townhouses, and I know at 2:00 in the morning if my smoke alarm's going off, everyone's gonna. I've got a community of people that are going to come and check on me if I have a fall because of my condition. I know there's someone nearby to pick me up. I think
these networks of hope are so important, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And networks I mean, I'll make a comment, and I'll get you to just tell me how you feel about it. It's through community and communion with other people, through these things, that we get hope.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone hates being lonely. Knowing that you've got people that you can fall on when you need to. Wise person once said, sometimes being your own man is knowing when to ask for help.
Let's go through the song list. You said you named your most favourite song there before. Obviously, the reason that you like that song is because it's something that you empathise with. There's something that, you know, deep inside you that it kind of like clicks with.
I think for that song, it's purely just the whole vibe of it. You can't help but feel happy, uplifted. It's happiness in 3 minutes of a song.
I got to ask: is there a song that you saw? And I know this is going to be difficult because we're talking about a collective. The kids got into the most.
I know Raining, they had a lot of fun on doing, and they literally just came up with that because it was bucketing down rain. That Everybody Loves Christmas. That was definitely a huge favourite for them. They had a lot of fun playing with that one. I think I got more out of it than they did. One, it was inspiring to see the kids participate and grow through the process, but also that they showed me that it's okay, no matter what's going on in your life, it is okay to have fun, enjoy yourself, and spend some time on music and leave your troubles at the door. And even to this day, it's always the project I mention to people when they ask what I do, and that I can't count how many copies of the CDs I've given away to people as gifts, because what better gift can you give than the message from any kid, so any children. So yeah, I still get invited to do projects through other community groups, which is incredible, like Red Cross and Woodshopperin. What started out as a once-off small project snowballed into 10 years of relationships with amazing, like-minded people.
Again, the theme of community and healing.
I'd love to see more of these kind of projects come up. You can never have enough music in your life. So I'd love to see more of these pop up. I also love doing photography, graphic work, and that. So I do a lot of social media. I'm actually blessed to do some social media for one of my idols, Garth Brooks. I do photography for photo editing for his social media. So I'm slowly getting myself back into that.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, Matt, thank you so much for taking time out of your...
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been on a personal note. It's been a real pleasure to hear your story, and I hope the listeners are going to enjoy it as much as I have.
I hope it inspires them to get out and do the same. The smallest of deeds can make the biggest of differences, whether it's you're leaving the shopping centre or a car park and you've still got time on your ticket. Give the ticket to the next person who's taking your car park. The smallest gesture will snowball. And
the only way to really transcend suffering is to embrace it. That's the other
That's
thing.
it.
Again, thanks so much, mate. Cairns Safer Streets is a multi-agency, co-located group of state government representatives delivering innovative projects through community and whole-of-government partnerships. We have developed a place-based approach in Cairns West, enabling innovative strategies addressing complex social issues. Thank you for listening to Be What You Can See. Thanks to our partners, Arts Nexus Studio and Cairns Tropical Writers Festival.